Hey, welcome to my deck guide, primer, and gameplay video on the new Modern Horizons 3 commander, the Necrobloom. He's a Lands Matter commander. It's a legendary plant that's a 2/7, and he's got Landfall. Whenever a land enters under your control, create a 0/1 plant creature token. If you have 7 or more lands, you get a 2/2 zombie instead. So it's kind of like a Field of the Dead effect, except that for lands 1 through 6, you still get a 0/1 plant, which in some cases is better if you've got something like Skullclamp or, well, mainly Skullclamp. But, it's good with Avenger of Zendikar too. I'm actually not running Avenger, which is a little bit of a questionable choice, but I find that it's not really necessary in this deck. I play this as a value-centric toolbox deck. I don't have any infinites. This is strictly a value deck that seeks to win by either overwhelming the board with a bunch of zombies and like landing an Elish Norn or a Craterhoof to close out the game, often protected with something like Kutzil. And the reason I'm running Kutzil over something like Grand Abolisher, which is strictly better otherwise, because it turns off abilities as well, is that Kutzil is fetchable by Green Sun Zenith. So it just is that much easier to find and play. Actually, the secondary effect of your creatures having greater power than their base power and drawing a card rarely comes into play. We don't have actually very many ways to pump our creatures at all, aside from the 2 win cons, at which point you're kind of just winning the game anyway. There may be a couple I'm forgetting, like Knight of the Reliquary can get there because he gets pumped. The White of the Reliquary too. There's probably some ways, but like in general, the reason we're playing Kutzil is just for that, turn off your opponent's spells effect. So what is this deck looking to do? Well, it's looking to just mass value, get lots of lands in play, just kind of mount an insurmountable board where even if you're identified as the archenemy, people can't do anything about it. You've got so much land, you have so much resources, and you have so much recursion. We didn't talk about the second ability of the Necrobloom, which is that land cards in your graveyard have Dredge too. For those of you who are not familiar, Dredge is a mechanic by which you can replace any draw. So anytime you would draw a card, you could instead return, since your lands have Dredge too, you could return a land from your graveyard to your hand, and the cost to do that is you replace your draw and you have to mill 2 cards. So this is a graveyard deck. It wants to have cards in the graveyard, so dredging is great. It fills your graveyard, it gets you lands back that you need, so you're never going to miss a land drop with this deck. First of all, we're running 40 land, 39 plus 1 MDFC, so you're never going to miss land drops for that reason. And secondly, anytime you would miss a land drop, you can just, boom, get one back from your graveyard with your commander. And there are a plethora of lands that you can get back to your hand and do something great with. My favorite is, and everyone's favorite, Boseiju Who Endures, which you can channel for either 1 or 2 mana, depending on if you have a legendary creature in play, to destroy a artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land. So this is the ultimate in toolbox answers, especially when you can just return it to your hand every single turn. And yeah, they get a land with a basic type to replace whatever you destroyed, which is very good for them. But in general, this is a very powerful synergy that you're going to find yourself using a lot. And we do run the other 2 Kamigawa Neon Dynasty channel lands as well, like Eiganjo of the Empire, which is 3 mana, again, reduced by each legendary creature you control, but 3 mana maximum, channel, deal 4 damage to an attacking or blocking creature. This is not a spell, notably, and it's not a colored source. So, if your opponent's got a sword of, what the hell is the white sword's called? Sword of Hearth and Home. There we go. I thought of one. And their creature has protection from white and green. You can still channel to do 4 damage to it, because although this is a white cost, it's not a white effect. So it's pretty powerful in that regard. You can also get rid of a problematic creature after it's dealt damage. Say your opponent has a Dothy Voidwalker, it's attacking someone else, and you're like, okay, I want to let them take damage from that, but I want to still, at the end of combat, it's still considered attacking, and then I'm going to do 4 damage to it to kill it right after it hurt my opponent. So that's a fun little trick you can do with Eiganjo. And then the other one is Takenuma, Abandoned Mire, which is fantastic. 4 mana, mill 3, and then you can return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. The last one that the lands are the critical piece of this deck, so I want to spend some time talking through a few notable ones. First of all, we're running the full contingent of fetch lands. Actually, I'm going to switch over to my custom types and tags so we can see, and I have all my lands starting with Z just so they get listed at the end. We're only running 1 basic. I actually have considered cutting it because there's so many lands this deck wants to run, and so few spots. But I'm running 1 basic just to have something to search up if you get hit with an Assassin's Trophy or a Path to Exile. But honestly, you could cut this and be fine. And yeah, it sucks if you don't get your land when they do that, but there are a lot of advantages to having all these extra utility lands. Bojuka Bog's great. You have a lot of ways to find it instantly, which is ultra powerful. Crop rotation is the best one. If you have never sniped someone's graveyard in response to a reanimate, you haven't lived. It's pretty great. Elvish Reclaimer can do the same thing, so can White and Knight of the Reliquary. These are all instant speed ways to just boom, find any land you need at a moment's notice, and Bojuka Bog's a choice one. Of course, we're running Cabal Coffers and Urborg. What black lands matter deck isn't? You're missing out if so. For those of you who aren't aware of this interaction, what rock have you been living under? But anyway, Urborg turns all lands into swamps in addition to their other types, and then Cabal Coffers taps for 1 black for each swamp you control. And when you have Urborg in play, the Coffers is a swamp too, so basically it says pay 2, tap it, add 1 black for each land you control. Extremely powerful. Phyrexian Tower is phenomenal in this deck. You're making tons of tokens. The ability to make 2 mana at a moment's notice is great. The ability to sack a creature that would otherwise be exiled, to say Swords to Plowshares or even Path to Exile. Sometimes you would just prefer to have the creature in your graveyard so you can keep recurring it with Takenuma, or something like that. It's exile effects are very painful for this deck, so do your best to avoid getting hit by them, whatever that means. Golgari Rotfarm, I would love to have room to run the other bounce land, the other green bounce land, Celestia Sanctuary. I probably would never run the white-blacks fetch or bounce land because those are just the 2 least relevant colors to the deck. They're important, but 2 bounce lands is plenty. But I love these lands. They give you so much flexibility. They'll let you return one of your channel lands if you had to play it early game, to your hand suddenly, and all of a sudden you've got Boseiju in your hand and not in play. Extremely powerful. On top of that, one of the key things this deck is seeking to do, much like modern deck Primeval Titan, Amulet Titan, is get an Amulet of Vigor in play. Where's our untapped section? Yeah. Getting an Amulet of Vigor in play is a very clean and easy way to mean that you're probably going to win if people don't deal with it. And it's just a 1-mana artifact. Some people are savvy and they'll know, hey, I got to get rid of that. It's pretty devastating. Spelunking, same thing. This card is phenomenal. Both incredible, important pieces to the deck. And, bounce lands are ultra powerful with these in play because they come in untapped. And you can make that 2 mana right away. Another nice thing about the bounce lands is, first two things actually. They let you keep a hand that's light on land because they kind of act like a 3rd land drop. It's turn 1 land, turn 2 bounce land, return a land to your hand. Turn 3 you still got another land drop, even if you never drew a 3rd one. So, that's not going to happen that often with this deck with 40 lands, but it still happens sometimes, and it's nice, it feels good when you have that option. Last thing I'll say about these is most people consider it a downside, but I don't. When you do make that play where you play this on turn 2, bounce another land, if you didn't play any other cards, you know, careful listeners will understand that, like, oh, now you're going to have 8 cards in hand and have to discard down to hand size, right? That sucks, huh? Well, not really. We're playing a graveyard deck. We love to get stuff into the graveyard. So providing that option on a land is really powerful. Usually you'll want to put a land in the graveyard because, you know, your commander can just dredge it, but there are other things that you could consider as well, and it really is hand dependent. The last couple I'll talk about Emergence Zone, my favorite land of all time, pretty much. This will get you out of so many tight spots, or enable shenanigans like you wouldn't believe. Especially when your commander has dredge too. This can do so much. Like, you know, I can't even begin to tell you how powerful this land is and how much it can impact your game. So test it out. Difficult card to play properly. In fact, you know, this entire deck is extremely hard to play. So if you don't feel like you are a strong Magic player, like, I would not recommend this deck. It's extremely decision intensive. It requires really like firm understanding of what your deck is doing, what the threats are on the board, like when to remove something or not. Very tough deck to play, so just bear that in mind when you consider building it or playing it. Field of the Dead, phenomenal. Like, obviously we're running a Field of the Dead mana base, that's why we have only one basic. But, you know, Field of the Dead basically doubles up what your commander is doing. So once you've got your 7 lands, like, every land you play, starting with the 7th, makes a 2/2 zombie. So extremely strong. Strip Mine, you could run like Field of Ruin or Wasteland or something less powerful here if you want, but I like the flexibility of Strip Mine. I don't use it typically to be mean, even though you certainly can, right? You could have an Azusa in play, or many of these other, like, play an extra land every turn effects. Like, let's say you have an Azusa in play, and you've got a Crucible effect, Crucible of Worlds, Ramunap Excavator, Ancient Green Warden, lets you play lands from your graveyard. All of a sudden, Strip Mine turns into, I'll destroy 4 lands, you know? Not something that is going to make you a lot of friends, but, you know, definitely a way to win games if that is all you care about. Typically what I use this for, though, is to just get rid of problematic lands, stuff like Nykthos, Cabal Coffers on their side, you know, Glacial Chasm, all the nasty lands that we are running. Speaking of Glacial Chasm, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit, and Maze of Ith. So Maze of Ith, great in this deck because not only is it just a fantastic card, a lot of times you don't need to activate it, it's just the threat of activation will prevent people from attacking you. And the downside, this land can't tap for mana, right? Well, it can with 2 of the lands in our deck. You have Maya Cradle of Growth and Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Both allow it to tap for mana, which pretty much negates its entire downside, so great land. And then we're running all the Surveil lands. I love these lands, they're so good. They let you keep a sketchy 2 land hand with a fetch land because you know you can get a Surveil land and, like, surveil a non-land to the graveyard and ensure you hit your 3rd land drop, or at least help you get there. So powerful, especially in this deck. And then Glacial Chasm. This card is broken. I wouldn't be shocked if it got banned one day, but, you know, since it's not, we're going to play it in our Lands Matter deck, that's for sure. So you can't attack when this is in play, something I forget all the time, but that's a pretty big downside. You do have to sack a land when it enters too, which is usually a downside, but sometimes you want to be sacking lands because you can play them from the graveyard or because you want to get them back in hand by dredging them with your commander. But yeah, you know, while this is in play, you prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. I love searching this up at instant speed with Elvish Reclaimer, Knight of the Reliquary, Crop Rotation to fog an entire attack. Feels really good, and people do not like it, that's for sure. Almost no one runs interaction for land, so except for good players. And I'm not saying that anyone who doesn't is not a good player, but it's just rare that people run interaction. And if they do, like, a lot of people run Beast Within or Generous Gift, but I just don't ever see people using those on lands as much as they should. So something to keep in mind as you play. Last one I'll talk about is Flagstones of Trocaire. This land is killer. This is like one of the reasons you might want to play a Glacial Chasm, just to sack a land, because you're going to get to search up the plains every time you do so. Get it right on the battlefield. Very strong. And then if you have ways to keep getting this back into play, like a Crucible of Worlds, or just dredging it with your commander, you can see how the value can really kick in with that. Yeah, I mean, that's the gist of the deck. We're playing a lot of mana effects, like ways to either find lands, ways to, like, Awaken the Woods is nuts. You know, make 10 creatures out of nowhere, like, on a turn, and then your commander makes 10 more. Like, it's just crazy. Or, like, crack your Emergence Zone and make 4 or 5 guys on the end step right before your turn, and then play Green Sun Zenith, find a Crater Hoof. That's game, you know? That's how you win. You're just like amassing a bunch of tokens, and then you're going to win with Crater Hoof. You're going to win by landing an Hellish Norn. And we have tons of tutors. I'm playing like pretty much every tutor under the sun. I mean, there's a couple I'm not running, but like this is a very powerful deck. This is not a low power deck. Like, I'm not running Mana Crypt. I'm not running Gaia's Cradle. Gaia's Cradle is absolutely bonkers in this deck. If you have it, you could run it. I own one. I'm not running it. You know, I like to play at this like very high end of the 7, low 8 sort of, and to me, stuff like Gaia's Cradle and Mana Crypt are when decks start leaning more toward the ultra high power. Same thing with like the Moxes, you know, with the exception of maybe like Mox Amber or Mox Opal, the like more conditional ones. So, you know, this is not a deck to play at a like low power table. You're gonna want to like make sure you have competent opponents, or you're just gonna run them over. Yeah, so I'd say like I think that's mostly it. Like, the rest of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory, I would say. We're pretty light on removal, and the reason for that is we have a lot of ways to just like be persistent and be like prevent damage with Glacial Chasm, or like just like make it really hard for opponents to attack us. So removal's less relevant. I'd say like, you know, probably could stand to have a little bit more, but, you know, we're running a lot of draw engines, including powerful stuff like the One Ring and Trouble in Pairs. That's really going to like draw a lot of cards. I'm playing this new Ripples of Undeath, which not only mills cards, but gets them into your hand potentially by paying a mana and 3 life. So very strong effect there. And then Skull Clamp can draw you a lot of cards, especially when you're in the early phases of your commander and making the 0/1s. So that's mostly it. I think what I'll do is spend just a couple minutes running through some practice hands so we can talk about mulligans. And then I'm going to be posting a game right after this, so feel free to check that out and enjoy the deck. I hope you like it. So let's do some practice hands. I'm going to go to playtest. Alright, so what's this hand doing? We've got 2 land. One of them's Cabal Coffers, so that's not great because it's not going to tap for any mana until it doesn't net even until you have at least 3 swamps, assuming you don't have Urborg. So this hand's pretty risky, although if we were to draw one more land, we could get there because we've got Night's Whisper, and then we have plays, right? And Night's Whisper will get us there. So, you know, in theory, I think we're going to mulligan this hand. I just want to say that right now. However, we have some very strong cards, like 2 of our strongest cards in the deck in Skull Clamp and Spelunking. So if I could ensure that I had a land in my top 2, or even top 3, I might consider keeping this hand. Actually, like, you know, the more I'm thinking about it, I might keep this hand. There are 38 other lands in the deck. So, like, we get to play Wooded Foothill, so we get 3 draws, technically, before we miss a land drop, because even though Cabal Coffers doesn't do anything at the moment, we could play it as a land drop, at least. You know, it's not going to do anything, but it will eventually do something, and it's better than missing a land drop. So, you know, let's just play it out. How about that? I'm very on the fence about if this is a keep. I would probably spend a little bit more time thinking about it in game, and it would depend on what my opponents were playing and what turn order I was in position. You know, if I felt like it was a very powerful room where I needed a strong hand, or if this was my second 7, I'd be much more likely to keep it, because what we can do is play the foothills, get a surveil land. If it's not a land, we can put that in the graveyard, and that's basically like drawing an extra card toward our land. And then we have a, 38 lands in the deck and 3 to 4 draws to get there. I think this hand gets there, but it is very risky. So, I would say in general mulligan hands like this, but if you're a gambler, then let's see what would happen. Alright, we got there on the first draw, so let's just play it out anyway. So we play the foothills, we crack it. What land do we need? We need black for sure, right? This can't find black, so we gotta get green-black. I don't think we really have another option. So we want to get green-black surveil. I think it's called under something. Underground Mortuary, there it is. So we're going to put that in, close and shuffle, and then we're going to look at the top card. It's the One Ring. That's a tough one, because we do really want to draw into land. However, we don't want to graveyard the One Ring because we don't have a lot of ways to get non-land permanents back from the graveyard. I actually think the only one I'm running is Shigeki, and that can't get back their One Ring. So, it's possible I should be running something like Regrowth, Noxious Revival, Eternal Witness, or something like that. Ewit's probably something I should slot into the deck, honestly. I thought I could get away with having just Shigeki, but honestly, this kind of situation is one that shows that maybe we need ways to get back non-legendary cards. So anyway, I'm going to leave this on top, and even though it's a dead draw right now, we've got Night's Whisper. I think we'll get there. So we're going to leave that on top. We're going to go to our next turn. We draw the ring. We'll play the Horizon Canopy. We'll cast the Night's Whisper for 3 life, because the Horizon Canopy costs 1. So ouch. Draw 2. Whew. Unfortunately, we didn't draw into a land, so that's okay. We still have 1 more land drop, and then we're in trouble after that. So let's hope we get there. So that was our turn 2. We're going to go to our next turn. Okay, we got there. So this is, untapped land if we need it. So actually, we could even play Amulet of Vigor and have it come in untap for no life if we want it. So anyway, I'm not going to play further than this because I think this hand is pretty self-explanatory after this. We're going to play our commander, we're going to play the ring, we're going to play Spelunking, and we're going to just go to Value Town. And we even have the Court of Calling to kind of instant speed, get Craterhoof, or if we draw into Craterhoof or Elesh Norn, then we Court of Calling, grab Kutzil, which protects us on our turn, and then just slam Craterhoof or Elesh Norn and win the game. So let's do one more. Okay, so this hand's got 1 land. This is an easy mulligan. We have only 1 land. If it was a green land, maybe we could keep it because we could crop rotation into something. We could maybe get Elvish Reclaimer online, but this is not a keep. I mean, we don't even have strong follow-ups, so easy mulligan. We'll take our second 7. Second 7 looks like this. We've got Ancient Tomb, Shadowy Backstreet, so no green sources. That's a shame because, I mean, I think this hand gets there with a green source. If this were the white-green dual land, then we can E-tutor on turn 2. We could get the ring and kind of rush that out. We could, honestly, it depends on who my opponents are. If I'm against at least 1 blue opponent, then this hand can't be a keep, because if you're not against blue, then I think you keep this hand because you're only 1 land away from E-tutor for the One Ring, and because, yeah, the problem is if the One Ring gets countered, you're in big trouble, right? You can still recover and win that game, but I think that would really hurt too badly to... I would rather go to 6. So I'm going to assume we're against at least 1 blue opponent, and I think going to 6 is better than this keep. E-tutor's great, but we don't have any way, at least off the top of my head, to find colored mana sources with Unlightened Tutor, so I think without knowing that we'll find a green, we can't keep this hand, especially since we've got Crater Hoof, which is kind of a dead card in opener. So I'm going to go to 6. I think, in general, take more mulligans, especially with a deck like this that has a lot of tutors and ways to find stuff to replenish your hand really fast. It's much better to have a strong hand than to worry about losing one card. So take more mulligans, you will win more games. Go to 5, like, even go to 4. Like, I mean, try not to go to 4, because that really does suck, but like, going to 5 is not a death sentence. I've won tons of games that way. Plus, like, you're automatically a low threat when you go to 5, so anyway, we'll go to 6. Alright, here's our 6. Yeah, like, how much better is this hand than the last one? We still only have 1 land, which is shocking. Like, 40 land deck, I can't find a hand with more than 1 land. Like, what gives? But, I mean, this hand easily gets there. We've got a turn 1 Soul Ring, we've got an Arid Mesa that will get dropped into the graveyard, and we've got a Vamp that can get us anything we want. So this hand looks very powerful to me. So let's try it out, and we'll just play it out and see how it goes. So I think easy decision to bottom either this or Bowmasters. So, Bowmasters is playable, so is Meat Hook, but we've got the Lotus Cobra, so I think Meat Hook is less good here, but it really depends on your opponents. If you're against like some heavy token strategies or someone you know is going to be flooding the board, maybe you keep Meat Hook. If you're against like more blue decks, maybe you keep Bowmasters or Commander with a draw engine in the command zone. So I'd say in general, in a vacuum, I'm going to bottom the Meat Hook, just because like this is playable, this is conditional. So let's bottom that card. This will stay in hand, and we will draw for turn and see what we get. Okay, no land, but Crucible is fantastic. It's basically like a land, since we've got turn 1 Soul Ring. So, like, I didn't think about it, but like honestly, this is a better draw than a land, assuming that Soul Ring isn't dealt with. And how often do you see that happen? I mean, not saying it never happens, but like, they don't know that your hand is very delicate, right? So let's play the Arid Mesa, let's crack it. We can only get a white land, so I think we want white-green. Well, actually, that's interesting. So we really want to cast Vamp. Crucible's going to let us get something else anyway, so I think the more critical land to get first is the green, since we've got a turn 2 play, just in case we draw a land and we don't want to play Crucible. So let's get a Savannah. I'm running all the OG duels, but if you don't have them, or you just don't want to run them, you can certainly get a Temple Garden here and just take the 2. It's not that big a deal. Don't shell out the money for the dual lands if you don't have them ready. I was lucky enough to get them 25 years ago when they were, $20. I know. You're jealous. I get it. I would be too. I'll play the Soul Ring, and then I'll pass. And then let your opponents grumble about you got turn 1 Soul Ring, and you say, but I mulligan to 6. Next turn. Hey, we got there. So we did draw a land. It's not a land that can make color right now, so that's a consideration. We do want to Vamp for the 1 ring. That's the game plan here, because we can play it next turn. So how do we do that? Well, I think the way to go is we play Cobra before our land drop. So it's interesting. We could do a couple things. We could either play Cobra, drop a land, and use the mana from Cobra to cast Vamp right away, or we could develop the Crucible, play the land from the graveyard, fetch. We'd have to either get, yeah, I guess we'd have to get the white-black dual scrub land. So I think that's the play. I think developing the Crucible like so early is really powerful. There is another consideration here, and I don't want to go off on a tangent because this is running long already, but like, I've been thinking a lot more about like making less optimal plays and whether or not that is actually the like best path to victory in some games. So when considering a couple of plays like, Lotus Cobra into Vamp versus Crucible into Vamp, you might actually lean toward the Lotus Cobra play. I mean, like, Arguably, Lotus Cobra is even more powerful and like devastating than Crucible, but I think in general, especially if you have a Masterpiece Crucible like I do that's signed, it's going to draw a lot more eyes to you. I mean, I'm already playing a 4 and black bordered Savannah into a signed foil borderless Soul Ring, so I think like I'm out of luck in terms of the going under the radar attempt, so this conversation is a little bit moot, but that being said, it is something I like to think about when I'm like debating between two plays like this. That being said, I think the optimal play is to drop the Crucible, let's play the Arid Mesa, let's pass turn, and then right before it's our turn again, we're going to crack the Mesa, we're going to get Scrubland, and we're going to cast Vamp. We're going to Vamp, we're going to get Tor. Opponents won't get to see it until you play it the following turn. Close and shuffle, that goes on top, and then we will go to our next turn, draw it, and boom, we've even got mana remaining. So we could even pay 2, play a Lotus Cobra, play Tower, generate mana with Cobra, 2, 3, 4, play the Ring. Pretty busted. Probably should have played the Mesa from Graveyard instead of playing the Tower, because then I could have made it even another mana. And then I could have even cast Crop Rotation, and then I would have made even more mana and cast Bowmasters. As you can see, this hand is absolutely insane. And we got there on keeping a one-lander, so be very thoughtful about your mulligans, because especially with the Surveil lands, you can really get there fast. So good luck with the deck. I hope you enjoy the game, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a brand new content creator, so like all the encouragement I get from people in the messages, I really appreciate it. It keeps me going and it keeps me motivated to make these decks and make these videos. So thank you so much to my loyal viewers who have been watching ever since I started doing this, and just know that I do really appreciate you. Alright, thanks. Double Simic decks. Barf.
My deck's not that powerful, so.
That's the worst part about Simic decks. They do nothing extremely slowly. I'm gonna randomize turn order 3 times. Here goes.
Cool.
Once, twice, thrice.
Okay, cut my deck. Oh, I'm first. Nice. Let's see. I'm gonna take a mulligan here.
I'll try it.
I will also go to 6. No lands.
Bummer.
Should have kept the first one. Okay, I mean, that kind of sucks. I'll pitch a card and put it on the bottom. I'm going to keep D6.
Okay.
Everybody else keep it?
Yep.
I'm ready.
I'll draw for turn.
Good luck, have fun.
I'll play an island and pass.
Okay. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'll play a tap Lush Portico and Spell 1. Put that in the graveyard. I'll pass. Is someone watching a video or something? I can hear someone else talking.
He was just really quiet. I'll draw for turn. I'll play a Vine Glimmer Snarler, deal in the forest, and pass.
Draw.
Johnny, are you talking?
I'll play a forest and pass.
Johnny, if you're saying anything, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Hi.
I can barely hear you.
You're at like 10% volume.
Okay, let me turn it. Yeah, I said that in my mouth.
What?
I'm with my friends here with me. Yeah, I like to watch you.
He's louder than you are.
Yeah.
Oh, hear me.
We can like hear you, but it sounds like there's something wrong with your mic or input.
You can hear me now? Is your mic up there? It
Your
is.
friend sounds much louder than us.
I think it's because of the fan. No, I don't think it's because of the fan.
If you do have a fan on, it'd be dope if you turned it off.
You hear background noise?
No.
Alright,
Tap upkeep, draw.
we'll leave the fan on.
Ooh, I'm gonna play a Windswept Heath and pass.
Alright, untap. Draw. Okay. Play a Temple of Malady. Scry 1. And then I'll pass turn.
Draw for turn. I'll play a forest. Tap 2 for rapid growth. And I'll pass the turn while I look for island.
Gonna crack this fetch on your upkeep, but you can.
I'm gonna pay 3 for Edric, Spymaster of Trust. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card.
Yikes. Edric game. Sorry, where the hell is this land? There it is. Get an underground mortuary, enters tapped, and I'll surveil one. So I'll surveil, put that in the graveyard. Untap, upkeep, draw. Spell a land. I'm going to cast a Zuran Orb. I'll play in Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth as my land for turn. So everyone's lands are swamps in addition to their other types.
That's awesome.
Tap 3, cast a Braids, Arisen Nightmare. Go to combat, pass through combat, second main, move to end step. Braids trigger, I'll sack the Zuran Orb, so everyone's got to either sack an artifact or lose 2 life and I draw a card. Okay, so everyone lose 2 and I'll draw 3. And then I'll pass.
Alright, untap, upkeep, draw.
I have to discard to hand size, so I'm going to drop Overgrown Tomb.
Woodland Chasm. And then 2 more for Cold Steel Heart, choosing green. And I'll pass it.
Upkeep, draw. I'm going to play Yawgmoth Coast and pass.
Okay, tap, draw. I'll play a Crawling Barrens as my land for turn. And then tap 4 for Toothy, Imaginary Friend. If that resolves, I'm going to swing 2 at Johnny.
Okay, so take 2.
I'll draw a card, and I'll put a counter on Toothy. Go ahead.
Tap, upkeep, draw. Phyrexian Tower as land for turn. I'll tap 4 and play my commander. And then go to end step. I'm not going to trigger Braids, so I'll pass.
Okay. Don't want to draw a card?
I would love to draw a card, but I don't want to sack any of my permanents.
You could have swung Braids at someone. Eject.
Oh, I see. Sure, fine. I'll swing 3 at you, Johnny.
Of course.
Thanks for the reminder. And I have to discard to hand size now. Ah, you tricked me. I will discard.
Oh no, now you can get through his menace.
Discard a Glacial Chasm.
Oh god.
You're up.
Alright. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'll play a Swamp. Three black for Beseeching Queen.
missing it. So you can tutor for something 4 or less.
Yes.
Cool. Never seen this. Pretty sweet.
I thought so too. I'm thinking about putting in my CDH deck.
Cool card.
So if that's good, I'll go find something. That's 4 mana cost or less?
Yep, you do have to reveal it.
Yeah. I'm gonna find my
Look,
Yeah.
What a strange choice.
it's a very strange choice.
I know, but I have my
Sure, you know your deck, so.
He's got reasons. Don't worry about it.
Honestly, I really don't know how I'm playing this deck.
Alright, any other actions? Okay, go ahead, Ethan.
Come on, see if I can play. Well, the land, hook up to the tap. That's my turn.
I'm gonna untap and draw a card, which will put a counter on Toothy. I'll play a Hall of the Oracles, and then I'll tap 3 for Pier. I'm gonna move to combat. I'm gonna swing Edric and Toothy at Ethan.
I'm gonna exile Egypt to give you a 4/4.
What card is it?
Resculpting.
Alright, that's fine. I'm gonna use this dice, or this die, rather, to represent a 4/4. That's cool with everybody. And then you take 3 commander from Toothy.
Do you have like a card you could put face down, like under it, just so it's easier to see?
Well, just put Egypt in.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks.
Just exile them with.
I'll pass.
Untap, upkeep. I'll draw for turn. That's a good one. I'll play Urza's Saga as my land for turn. That's gonna make me a plant. Let's have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will cast a Yawgmoth, Grand Physician. I don't know why it's not scanning. Oh, there it goes. Okay, then I will. If I have any creative attacks, I'm just gonna pass turn there.
Drama. Click swamp. Two, three, four, five. Oh, like Mazirek.
I'll respond, maybe. Put a +1 counter on each creature you control, including. I'll sack plant to Yawgmoth to -1 on pure.
Okay. Notably, that's 2 1/1 counters.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize.
Here's dead.
Good to know, though. I'll draw 1. And no other response. That can result.
Cool. I'll pass turn.
Draw. I should finally do something. I'll play Overbeing of Myth. Right now it's a 5/5. Power toughness equals the number of cards in my hand. You gotta upkeep or beginning my draw step, I draw additional card. We'll pass.
Okay.
That
Untap.
is something.
And then draw. Counter on Sir Tooth.
Sir Tooth.
I'll play land for turn. Yeah, why not? I will tap 6 for Mordenkainen. He comes in with 5 counters. But I'm going to uptick him by 2, so he'll go to 7. I'll draw 2 cards, then put a card from my hand on the bottom of my library.
How do you spell that?
Mordenkainen.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. So that'll put 2 counters on Toothy.
The card's sweet. Makes giant
It's,
dog illusions.
It can -2. I'll read it for everybody. -2, create a blue dog illusion creature token with this creature's power and toughness are equal to twice the number of cards in your hand. And I can -10 to exchange my hand and library, then shuffle. I get an emblem with I have no maximum hand size.
Sweet.
Just let me know when you sacrifice something.
Sure. I don't think this deck actually has a way to sack. Well, Matt can probably make us sack things.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But yeah, sure.
Specific's not known for its sacrifice.
I'm just gonna pass.
Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Saga goes to 2. Damn, I went to dredge. Whoops. That's okay. Mazirek is a 2/2. Alright. I will play Cabal Coffers as my land for turn.
How many swamps do you have?
6. I have Urborg.
Yeah, true.
Trigger Necrobloom. I will make a plant. I'm gonna pay. Actually, can't do this. Alright, have to do this a little bit sloppy. Pay 2, activate the coffers. Yeah, so I'll have 6 black. Actually, I can't do that. Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out. activate coffers like this. 6 black. I'll use 2 of it. And a single green for a spelunking. So when it enters, I'll draw a card, and I can put a land from my hand onto the battlefield. If it's a cave, I gain 4, and my lands enter untapped. So I'll draw, and then I'm going to put in a Eiganjo, Seed of the Empire. That's my 7th land, so I'll make a zombie with Necrobloom.
So 2/2?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I've got 4 black floating. So tap 1, 2, 3 more, including double white, for 7 total. And I will cast an Elish Norn Grand Cenobite. Pass priority.
What is that one say?
Yeah, how did you pay that much?
Do you want me to recount? I
7?
kind of did it all. I just went through all of it. Do you want me to do it again? Sure. So I paid 2 and to activate the coffers.
Yep, and
That
then
gave me
6.
6. So I had 6 black. I used 2 of the black, going to 4 remaining, plus this for green to play Spelunking.
Yeah.
And that put the Eiganjo into play. I had 4 black remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, isn't it 2 white pips? Where you have the other white
2
pip?
white is right here.
Oh, okay.
Good. This Elish Norn is the old one. It gives all my stuff plus 2, all of your stuff minus 2. So Mazirek will die if it resolves.
Yeah.
Okay. That's summoning sick. Cards in hand for everyone?
5,
7. 7.
Ethan, you have 7?
5.
You have
What's
5.
the show?
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. This will show the amount of cards in my hand at all times.
Gotcha.
Power toughness. Technically, it's 2 low right now.
Mordenkainen's at 7.
Yep. I have a 2/2 and a 4/4.
Okay. I will send everything at Mordenkainen.
How big is it?
4 power, 2 power, 4 power, 5 power.
But and that's with the buffs?
Yes.
I'll just not block anything, I guess.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Fucking Elish Norn, bro.
That is fair. Elish Norn is a bitch. It's nice to be on this side of it for once. I'll pass. Or I'll move to end step, and I'm going to sack plant 2 Braids. So everyone's got to sack a creature or pay 2 life, and I draw a card.
Pay 2 life.
You can draw from me.
I'm not stacking, so.
Okay, I'll draw 3. And I have to discard 1, so I'll do that. Discard. Mazirek.
Alright, let's have.
Do either of you run board wipes?
Yeah,
Not a lot on this deck because it's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Simic as well.
but of course.
This game's pretty much over.
Do you have a counter spell in your hand? Try to counter with more if you can counter it.
I do not.
Okay.
I'm also tapped out for now. Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty much over.
It's never over until it's over.
The death surrendered. I don't pass her.
Alright. One tap upkeep, I'm going to draw 2. Play Island. How big is your stealth without Ellis Norn?
2-7, 2-4, 4-7, 3-3,
Okay.
2-2.
Do I do that? Do I do that? This guy's now 6 or 4-4. We're just gonna play out my commander and pass.
Did you draw an extra card?
He
I
did.
did.
Okay.
Over being a myth.
Yeah.
Draw, yeah, another fucking land. I needed that.
What, are you supposed to draw an extra card?
Yeah, he's got
Yes, with the
overbeing.
over being of myth, I am.
Oh, okay.
Just me.
Man, what can I even do here? Play land for turn. Doesn't do anything. I'll tap 3 for a Boral of the Hull Clade. I can pay blue-green and tap it to double the number of counters on artifact, creature, or land.
Ooh, do you play the Millennium Calendar in there?
No, it's just too slow.
Yeah, it's bad, but it's pretty fun.
You gonna untap or?
Oh, you passed? I'm sorry, I didn't know. Yeah. Tap, upkeep. I'll dredge. Dredge the Windswept Teeth to my hand with Necrobloom. Mill 2. Eiganjo's Awakening. Ripples of Undeath. So there are 3. I'll float 1 and sacrifice it. Grab Soaring. Play the Windswept Teeth as land for turn. It's going to make me another zombie. I'll use this 1 floating mana plus a green. And I'll cast a Summer Bloom. It says I can play 3 additional lands this turn. So I'm going to leave my remaining lands over here, and then I'll go to combat. And Esix is 4/4. I will send everything at you, Ethan.
How much?
4 plus 4 is 8 plus 4 is 12, 16, 21.
Yo, Fog to save him.
That is true. I forgot about that.
Oh, you're talking about me? That
Yeah.
fog that I tutored up? that I was like, I have my reasons.
Save his life.
He's crushing.
He's fucked if you don't fog.
I mean, he probably wants to save his own life.
Yeah.
But he has another whole turn cycle before he gets swung at.
And then I die? No way, Jose.
I don't think he would die.
Probably.
Cool. Damage is going through.
Yeah, I already took 21.
Alright.
Okay. Cool.
really.
Oh. Activate coffers. Shoot. Sword. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to use one of it. Going to 6. All cast. Bam.
Tutor? Yeah, GG, guys.
Not over, but you can scoop if you want. Is this
Don't
good?
give up.
All is 2.
Well, that's crazy though, that's Monday.
This deck doesn't have like infinite, so it's a lot of value, but it doesn't mean I'm going to for sure win. I'm certainly in a good spot, but I don't think it's over.
11 mana and any card of your choosing from your deck. And
This
you
is
can't
true.
win is questionable.
It
Yeah.
is just a infinite list value deck. Okay, I'll get this card. Are there any... Is there anything on the board that's 1 power? Or 1 toughness, rather?
Not for me.
How big is Vorel?
He's a -1/2.
Okay. Just gonna put him on top. I'll sack 1 zombie to -1 on Esix. Draw, lose a life draw. I'm gonna do it again unless you're... Sounds like he's scooping. Alright, do it. Well, I guess I don't need to do it again, so I won't. 6 floating. Tap green. Seriously, don't have another green. Alright, I have to crack the heat. You know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna play this Osage as land return. Make another zombie. And then, so that's 2 green plus 4 down to 2 for Ancient Greenmore. I can play lands from my graveyard and I get double landfalls.
Not nice.
Cool. I will play Mazirek from the graveyard as first land for turn, make 2 zombies. And then I'll play Flutter Strand, make 2 more zombies.
Is that all?
That's all my land drops. I believe so. Let me just check my hand. That is all I will pass.
Alright, if you don't have a board wipe, we do actually lose.
Yes, that is definitely true.
You're wrong.
Is it a board wipe?
No.
Alright, GG's.
Play small.
Man,
Wait, so why does it make it a...
these guys are.
What did he mean by that?
I mean, like, I have a strong board, so I can like attack for a lot. It's certainly. I mean, it's probably over. Like at this point, I have Yawgmoth, so I can sack a bunch of zombies and like draw a lot of cards, and I get double landfall triggers. Like it's pretty out of reach at this point, but like any board wipe would get me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever. I mean, you're dead on board at this point, so.
I mean, if I would have like 1 turn for a call. There would have been nothing else.
Right. Yeah. So you want to do your scooping?
Yeah.
Alright, good game.
Well, that was a kind of.
Everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked away for a second and everybody's gone. That's kind of sad. This kind
Yeah,
of.
it's
Yeah.
classic Spelltable. Like, people are, you know.
Yeah, I had 30-something points for life, right?
Yeah, he could have been somebody. You never know.
Whatever. So it goes. Good game.
All right, well, run it back. Let's get it started up.
I think we take it out.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll rename.
Yeah.